إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ما يهده الله فلا مضل له وما يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Verily, all of the magnification and certainly all of the glorification, it is due to Rabbul Izzah or Rabbul Alameen. And I bear witness that the last messenger that was sent to guide humanity was Mustafa Al-Amin As-Sadiq Abu Qasim alayhi wa salatu taslim. Ya Ikhwani, many people they talk about Iman. And there's a group of brothers that go around talking about Iman. And sometimes they talk about a topic called Al-Yaqeen. Al-Yaqeen, ya Ikhwan. Al-Yaqeen, ya Ikhwan. Solid conviction, ya Ikhwan. And this word Yaqeen, ya Ikhwan, it is mentioned in the Quran 27 times, ya Ikhwan. And the scholars have said that Yaqeen is even stronger than Iman. It is something that you are absolutely convinced about. As they say, La shak fi dhalik. There's no doubt in that. So inshallah, before we get into the meat and potatoes, ya Ikhwan, of this topic, I want to paint a picture. As my brother, he shows us many times through his illustration, through giving his da'wah, he tells us about illustrations to help us to understand the message, ya Ikhwan. So I want you to imagine yourself, ya Ikhwan, going to a travel agent. And when you go to this travel agent, you tell him that you want to go to the Hajj or any other trip. But inshallah ta'ala, the best trip is Hajj. So this travel agent, ya Ikhwan, he gives you a brochure for Hajj. And the brochure, while he's reading it, he describes the hotels, the restaurants, the quality of food, the types of buses with air conditioning, and every other thing, all the ziyada on the different sites that you visit. But that person himself, he never went for Hajj. He never experienced it himself. So he keeps reading it to you, and he himself has actually never been to Hajj. Surely, him just trying to sell you something that he never experienced, you won't really appreciate his words, because he himself never seen these sites. He never experienced these sites. So he sells you something, or he tries to sell you something based upon just one little picture. The person who experiences this, he can give you knowledge based on details, ya Ikhwan. We're talking about Al-Yaqeen. Yaqeen, ya Ikhwan. And we find that Allah Azza wa Jalla, He has said concerning Yaqeen, breaking it down into 3 tartib, ya Ikhwan, and this particular manzila. As there's different manzila of Yaqeen, different mentionings of Yaqeen, but inshallah ta'ala, the research that we show, inshallah ta'ala, brothers, it'll help you to understand. So we find, ya Ikhwan, first Allah Ta'ala says, after I say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Kalla, law ta'lamuna ilma al-yaqeen. Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, nay, if they only know with knowledge, ya Ikhwan. This is talking about the eyesight, ya Ikhwan. Actually, ilm al-yaqeen. It's talking about ilm al-yaqeen, the eyesight of actually knowing something based upon knowledge, certainty. And the second one, ثُمَّ لَتَرَوُونَهَا عَيْنَ الْيَقِينِ. Certainty of sight, something that you actually seen with your own eyes. For instance, like the Jannah or the Nar, as some of the scholars say in Tafsir. Then you will surely see it it with your eyes with certainty. So we find, ya ikhwan, and the last one is إن هذا لهو الحق اليقين. حق اليقين يا إخوان. Indeed, this is the true certainty. So when we try to break this down to you, brothers, Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullah alayhi went on to break it down in such a sweet, easy way for the Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to understand. He said that a person comes to you and they describe to you honey, and you've never seen honey, never tasted honey, but you hear someone's talking about how honey is. It tastes so sweet, it's so thick, it smells good, but you have never seen it and you have never tasted it. But then now actually somebody comes and they bring a bottle of honey, or you see a bottle of honey. Now you have some knowledge about it, you've actually seen it, but then now someone comes and they give you a taste of honey. These are the different levels that the Shaykh was trying to explain in some of his books, talking, ya ikhwan, concerning the ulum al-iman, the amal al-iman, and the akhlaq al-iman, trying to understand that yaqeen, ya ikhwan, it is solid conviction, la shak fi dhalik. No one can trick you. And we find, ya ikhwan, that these particular ayat, ya ikhwan, go into deep depth of knowledge, ya ikhwan. As we know the hadith, which is very famous, inshallah, maybe another day we can get into it, the hadith of Hudayfa, the hadith of Handala, where he went on to say that the Prophet ﷺ used to come and describe to us the Jannah as if we could see it, ya ikhwan. And also, we know the ayah about Surah Ibrahim, where he talked and he asked Allah, oh Allah, show me, do you not believe? Yes, I believe. So, ya ikhwan, there's a different level of actually knowing a thing, seeing a thing, and experiencing a thing. And we look at this, ya ikhwan, we have to take our hats off to the scholars, because when they wrote down for us in the tafsir, they didn't leave it so it's confusing. Inshallah, we're going to go back over it again, even though we gave you plenty of parables to understand. So for instance, ya ikhwan, ilm al-yaqeen, it is based upon knowledge. You actually see smoke from a distance. You can see smoke, and because of your experience in life, you have to know that when there's smoke, there's something else there. So we see smoke, it signifies through our knowledge and our investigation that something is burning. This is ilm al-yaqeen. Also, ya ikhwan, ayn al-yaqeen, that you can actually see the fire. You get closer, you see the fire going up. This is certainty as contemplation of the vision. You can actually see it with your own eye. You're witnessing it. And the last one, ya ikhwan, is haqq al-yaqeen, which is you can actually feel, you get closer. You can feel the heat of the fire. Now this parable, ya ikhwan, is very lightweight compared to the hellfire that is awaiting those people that deserve it. May Allah save all of us from that hellfire. Qul ameen. So, ya ikhwan, based upon, the first one is based upon knowledge, the second one is based upon seeing, and the third one is based upon feeling, certainly gained through experience. We will be convinced, ya ikhwan, of the fire, and especially the ayahs that are talking about those disbelievers who disbelieved in the hellfire. Allah Ta'ala is telling them that they will come to see it. So we find, ya ikhwan, when the word yaqeen is used, we find Allah Ta'ala, He talked about yaqeen using al-yaqeen, talking about the akhirah. Also, He used the word yaqeen talking about the people with certain belief, as well as people with no certainty of belief whatsoever. Also, Allah Ta'ala, and this is the point, ya inshallah ta'ala, which is, it hit me home the other day, ya ikhwan, when a beloved brother of mine, he passed away. I went to his janazah, 8,000 people, and I got a chance to actually go to the janazah, and they had the coffin opening. We got a chance to see my brother. Maut, ya ikhwan, the certainty of maut. And the last one is the khabar, is the news. So we find, binillah ta'ala, ya ikhwan, that this is something that we have to understand. There is a sweetness to iman. There is a sweetness to taqwa. There is a sweetness to faith, ya ikhwan. But have we tasted it? Have we studied it? Have we observed it, ya ikhwan? This is something that me and you need to understand, that there's levels to this, ya ikhwan. And we find that Allah Azza wa Jal, He went on to say concerning the maut, ya ikhwan, and it's very scary. Qala Allah Ta'ala, wa'bud rabbaka hatta ya'tika al-yaqeen. Wa'bud Allah, wa'bud rabbuk hatta ya'tika al-yaqeen. Worship your Lord until what is certain comes to you. So the Mufassirin, from amongst them, Imam Jarir al-Tabari, he went on to say, and many others, وَهُوَ الْمَوْتِ. He described that this yaqeen, amongst the scholars of tafsir, he said, death, it is the ultimate answer for what it means to be a human. So hold fast to your principles, your practices, and your conviction throughout your life. The encounters, you will always be passing away, ya ikhwan. Every day you're moving closer to al-maut. The second opinion, ya ikhwan, is before yaqeen, Allah Ta'ala says, and worship your Lord until you reach certainty. The scholars, they went on to say the role of ibadah on a daily basis. What validates, what invalidates, how to improve upon the quality of and the performance of your ibadah. Number 4, the most important, who it is that we are actually worshiping, ya ikhwan. The details that the scholars, they wrote down for us. What validates our ibadah? How to improve our ibadah? Who are we actually worshiping? I have seen Muslims, and I don't understand why. The salat is going on, the tarawih is going on, the phone rings, the people are saying Allahu Akbar, making a salat, a brother opens up his phone, I'm in the salat right now, I'll call you back. Obviously that brother, he didn't understand that Allahu Akbar actually has the meaning Allahu Akbar min kullu shay. That Allah is greater and bigger and more profound than every single thing, even your cell phone and the call that's on it, ya ikhwan. So we need to know who we're standing in front of. We're just standing for gymnastics and acrobatics, or we're standing to pray? No. Iqamat as-salat, to establish the salat. So we find, ya ikhwan, that these aspects of al-yaqeen, the solid conviction, my dear brothers, it is mentioned 27 times in the Quran. And I only looked up a few ayat of tafsir. When I started to open it up, al-Baghawi, al-Alusi, al-Samarqandi, Ibn Kathir, and on and on and on, ya ikhwan. You could read 30, 40 tafsir for one ayah within an hour, ya ikhwan. And it'll show you how much we read the Quran, but yet we don't understand that much compared to the scholars who wrote tafsir for us. So my dear brothers, we need to know the importance of yaqeen, and we need to be established upon the deen. أقول قولي هذا واستغفرت لكم صلى الله عليه وسلم فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Looking at the dictionary, yaqeen, ثقة, تحقق, تأكد, اقتناع, certainty, meaning the certitude, the assurance, the conviction, the sureness, and the positivism. My dear brothers, this is in the aspect of aqidah. When you're talking about yaqeen, we gave you a few ayat about certainty. Also, there is another understanding of yaqeen, my dear brothers, and it is in Bab al-Fiqh. Shaykh al-Islam, Ibn Taymiyyah, and other scholars, and from amongst the book that he wrote was called Al-Qawad Fiqhiyya Al-Khamsa Kubra, which is a monumental book, yeah, brothers. And this is the Bab of Usul al-Fiqh and Qawad Fiqhiyya and Qawad al-Kulliyya. The concept, ya ikhwan, of the maqam of yaqeen, the manzil al-yaqeen, the qaida that the Shaykh he wrote was something which is really important, which many Muslims, they don't know. We need to study this in also the aqidah as well as the fiqh look of the word yaqeen. There is within the Khamsa Kubra a science called al-yaqeen la yazul bil-shak. Al-yaqeen la yazul bil-shak. That certainty isn't removed from doubt, brothers. So if I made a fresh wudu, and I left my house, and I know I made a wudu, and I'm driving down the road, and I'm almost at the masjid, and I'm not sure if I passed gas, I didn't hear any gas, So this principle, many Muslims, we forgot it, that you should just go with this principle. You don't have to go make another fresh wudu. Why? Al-Yaqeen la yazul bil-shak. It makes our religion easy for us. Some brothers, they have the waswas. I don't know, did I leave my wallet? What's going on? I don't have wudu, I have wudu, I had tahara, I don't have tahara. There's brothers that have this. If they understood this principle, then ya ikhwan, the religion would be easy. So the A'immatul Lugha, they wanted to say that ashaq khilaf al-yaqeen, that doubt is the opposite of yaqeen. So we find, my dear brothers, that these sciences, and this is just one topic, al-yaqeen. The scholars have written on so many topics, and brothers, just this little bit of information that I myself did a personal study on, I'm just tipping the iceberg of the science of yaqeen, ya ikhwan. The scholars of Islam, that's what they did. When they opened up the book of Allah, they looked at Tawbah, they looked at Maghfirah, they looked at Rahmah, they looked at Istiqamah. All these different words in the book of Allah, they took those words out and someone wrote a book on it with all the ayat and hadith. For thousands of years, ya ikhwan, I've seen some of the Muslim libraries with my eyes, and it's a tremendous treasure, brothers. And my heart is crying out to you, brothers, that we have not done our job. If you go to the University of Toronto, if you go to the University of McGill, if you go to the University of Chicago and other libraries, the non-Muslims have collected our books of Islam more than any masjid or any organization in North America. You can go to the University of Toronto and find makhtutat, rare manuscripts from the scholars. They go to fairs and they buy the latest books of the scholars and they have it down for people who want to do research. And it was shocking to me when one of my sheikhs, he said to me that one of the best explanation and one of the best works ever done on Mustalah Hadith, the sciences of Hadith, and Hadith from Alif to Ya, was done by some non-Muslim professors. They collected a whole bunch of hadith and they made it easy, and it's easy to access. Non-Muslims servicing the deen. Non-Muslims going to buy the books of the scholars and making it easy for anybody who wants to go and research the books of the knowledge. So if you can't find these books here in this masjid here, where are you going to find those books? The non-Muslims have went and preserved our religion for us. You can go, ya ikhwan, and for some money, you can get in there and you can get a card to go and research, ya ikhwan. It is a tremendous thing. As I myself, when I was overseas studying, the non-Muslims are learning the Arabic language. Some so they can translate what the Muslims are saying, some because they like to learn new languages, some because they actually want to read the Quran and understand it. We have Muslims that are born in Islam and they don't want to read the books of Islam. We got lazy brothers. The books of Allah, the Quran is collecting dust. Brothers, we have to change, brothers. If you want yaqeen, you got to go back to the book of Yaqeen, as this is one of the things, ya ikhwan. We can see the Quran. We can hold the Quran. We can recite the Quran. But brothers, how much yaqeen do we need? There's ilm al-yaqeen, haqq al-yaqeen, ayn al-yaqeen. What level am I on? What level are you upon, ya ikhwan? This is the question we need to understand. We need certainty, brothers. The call is going out. The call is going out. Some people are leaving Islam. Some people are answering the call. As for me and as for my brother here, we were not fortunate to be embraced by the Muslim countries. We were not born in the Muslim countries. Our parents and our ancestors aren't Muslim. We answered the call of Allah just by hearing La ilaha illallah. No Muslim empire came and gave of Islam. No Muslims came to our land and conquered our land and then made that the religion of us. We answered the call. When we heard about Allah and His Messenger, we answered it, ya ikhwan. I was kicked out of my house by my father, ya ikhwan, for answering that call. And I had a strained relationship with him for many years. Because maybe a little bit of yaqeen came in my heart about La ilaha illallah, brothers. Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I chose Islam. I'm one of the chosen few, like my brother Abu Hafsa. Some of us have been given Islam by birthright. And some of us, we don't care about this birthright because the jail is packed with Muslims, ya ikhwan. Packed with Muslims. And you'd be shocked to find out that some of the Muslims that are in the jail have actually memorized the whole book of Allah from cover to cover, selling drugs. So the question is, what level of yaqeen do those brothers have? Brothers, I'm encouraging you brothers right now, go home to your family. Make it your own study to go and study the science of yaqeen and iman, brothers. Because it can be taken away from you just like that. That's why we say in the khutbah, وَلَا تُمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Doesn't matter if you've been in Islam for 1,000 years, your grandfather made Hajj, your grandma gave Sadaqah. Are you dying on Islam? Am I dying upon Islam? This is all that matters, brothers. May Allah give us the certainty to practice La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, and to die upon Iman. And just to say, brothers, that when I went to this janazah and I seen my brother, his face had a big smile on it. This is what we want, brothers, when we're shrouded. And he had light on his face, brothers. You want a husnul khatima that's based upon yaqeen. May Allah help me, may Allah help you, may Allah help the ummah, may Allah give the Muslims worldwide the understanding of yaqeen and iman, and to help us practice Islam in every land, in every place, and to help free all the Muslims that are suffering, all the Muslims in every single land. We can't just name a few because then our brother will say, well, what about my country? So all the Muslims, kullu makan, may Allah give us all certainty so we can die upon La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfiruhu lakum muslimin fastaghfiruhu innahu ghafurur rahim. With that, aqim as-salat wa rahmakallah.